matter if you want to stand in front of the train or just off to the side. You're getting into the wind behind.
Hello, this is Warren. Hello, the recall Gavin. I'm just you can call me back in moments. So I was listening to who's Brittany? Brittany is Joe Collins. Listening to the news on my way trucking around the state the other day, and there was a news crew that was doing a story or report down in San Francisco about the vehicle break-ins, and while they're filming, sedan pulls up, 4 guys jump out of the sedan and pull a gun on the cameraman and say, "We're taking your camera." Wow. So,
It's not the first time.
no, I don't doubt it. Yeah.
No, I mean, people doing the story, and then they go, wow. Well, it happened.
Yeah.
A very safe area, it sounds like.
I was down in San Francisco yesterday, and it
This
was,
camera's been stolen twice.
Really?
And recovered.
No.
This is a lucky, that's why it looks like it does, but probably not.
See, look, you know, if it's functional, yeah.
Wow, it's lucky.
It's lucky, yeah, absolutely. Wow. Do you guys have like a tracker or something?
Yeah, we started 5 minutes ago.
Some people do the TV stations. I'm independent. I'm well insured.
There you go. I know my neighbors were broken into and the crooks stole their backpack, and backpack had a laptop in it, and they're able to track down where the laptop was. And the guys that broke into their house while they were sleeping stole their stuff from the bottom floor, were processed and back out on the street committing crimes before the police officer was done writing the report. So it says, yeah, we've gone full circle. Now it's time to restore some sense of law and order.
It's been good though. It's been good. What about beer?
Yeah, everything's been fine. Happy days.
Tired.
Running around doing lots.
Well, you know, let them tell us what we're doing until the day of, so I'm pretty sure we'll you guys can
My job's easy, so it's just like sitting at the same computer. I never have to run anywhere.
You know, it's just how we do.
Oh, but I'm excited whenever it's clear to be at home. I want to go meet the other people, you know, and miss that. Especially just like meeting the other reporters on assignment that they're able to talk to them, you know.
I know. That's also why I'm like, sometimes the I'm like, I literally will go do anything because I have nothing to do. Like, there's nowhere to go.
Okay, everybody. This is a press conference. It's going to begin in just a few minutes. And I'm told that there's some big breaking news that's about to be revealed at this press conference. So everybody stay tuned. Share this on all your social media because you're going to want to hear it firsthand at this press conference. Some breaking information, and it's regarding Gavin Newsom himself. So you definitely don't want to miss this. Hang in there for a minute or two. They're just letting the last couple of camera people set up. All of the networks are here. And they're all going to be streaming this live. So there's a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 cameras in the room right now. You can see Channel 13, Channel Fox 40, And there's another, you can see the microphones up in the front. So this is going to be a lot of great information. So like I said, this is big breaking news about to be revealed here at the press conference. So more later, just watch and feel free to comment down below.
Funny enough, so I like don't know what I mean, like mac and cheese, French like grits.
I don't even know what a grit is.
Actually, I'm recording what you do.
It's like cornmeal. I just know that like they used to use it to punish.
I mean, I'll put it on my laptop.
Like you would kneel on grits.
Shrimp grits is like a thing.
Yeah, German grits is the thing. Oh, that's right. You're from Portland.
Yeah.
You really
I'm really not a fish out of water.
like as far away from the south as you can get.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the recall on the stream on YouTube will be started in just a moment.
That's honestly really so funny and human, and I literally like almost had this like actually.
That's the worst feeling.
So yeah. It's a cute little mask she's wearing. Nowadays people are like, oh, they look great or whatever. It's like the mask.
Hi, how are you guys? Good. We're just talking about how your mask is cute.
Oh, thank you.
Did you make it?
Oh, my mom did.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was just thinking this morning how it was like my mom also made and mailed me a mask like the first week of the pandemic when like you couldn't find any, and now it's like they're on shelves everywhere and you can buy whatever.
My mom went like really crazy with making masks. She made like so many. I still have a lot that like haven't even touched. Yeah.
How have you been?
Good. Yeah. Today, this morning, I've been helping with a documentary film. Interview documentary. So I'm all mic'd up right now. I don't know if I'm recording, but.
Oh really? So where's your mic?
And my mask.
Wow.
But somewhere in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
How was it?
Well, it went okay. It sounded.
They just like interviewed you and
Yeah, we like walked over to my apartment.
Yeah, you're not going to want to miss this. This is big breaking news about Gavin Newsom and the Gavin Newsom recall campaign. So everybody hang in there they're letting a couple more camera people set up, and once they get set up, then they're going to begin this press conference. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss this. This is going to be big breaking news today.
there's like rose tree things,
Yeah,
rose
yeah.
bushes.
For the rose garden, yeah.
Are they coming? The filmmakers?
I might need to ask you which person's which.
All right, guys, there's a couple more just coming, and we're going to give them the opportunity to be able to come in here in about 1 minute, and we'll get started.
Nobody's filming this, right?
We're recording.
Oh, thank you.
Film anymore, do we?
I actually don't know. I'm sure I've talked to them on the phone.
You know what? Middle.
Starting in 30 seconds.
Others coming in the room.
Or
Come on in, folks. Come on in, guys. Run through the back, front.
Starting in 15.
I'm just taking a picture of it, as it turns out, I have them right down there.
Evidence.
Okay, this is
Good
going to...
afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the press conference, the mother of all press conferences here in Sacramento, one that's going to hopefully change the future direction of our state and to be able to send a message across the street to the politicians that the people are in charge.
You can sneak in the middle if you want to get in there.
And want to welcome everybody here to the official announcement from the Recall Gavin Newsom, Recall Gavin 2020, the California Patriot Coalition, in regards to where we're at with this historic and monumental grassroots effort to the next step on where we are in this process to recall California Governor Gavin Newsom. I'd like to introduce you to Orrin Healy. Orrin is the lead proponent and the chairman of the California Patriot Coalition, Recall Gavin 2020. He's the one who has helped really in the glue and the leader to be able to put this massive movement together. And so thanks for being here, Orrin.
Absolutely, I appreciate everybody coming and having this opportunity.
Also like to introduce Mike Netter. Mike is our lead co-proponent of the recall campaign. He has been the absolute rock and glue of the campaign and the movement since day one. Orrin and Mike have been doing this now for almost, what, a year?
Yeah, it's been a little over a year.
A little over a year now. So I've been lucky to be able to come on about 5 months ago. So again, welcome to the greatest grassroots political movement in California history. I think what we're doing here today is monumental and historical. We'd like to announce, as of today, we have 1,950,000 signatures. That is more than enough to be able to have this initiative qualified for a special election later this year, to let the people finally decide who and what is going to happen with the fate and the future of California Governor Gavin Newsom.
We are still setting our sights on getting an additional number of signatures in order to bridge that 2 million mark.
Yeah.
And we're excited and hopeful that we're going to have that in the time that we have.
And we have until March 17th, and that's St. Patrick's Day. But we want to get this done immediately. We want to get this done in the next couple of days because we don't want to have any shenanigans. We don't want the politicians to go ahead and derail the movement that the people have created for so many months now, and with this team who has been just so dedicated. Mike, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I want to state specifically, and I've said this before, this is a lot different than any other kind of initiative or election that's gone out, period, probably in American history. Of the 1,950,000 signatures collected, our guesstimate is at least 1.6 million of them were collected by volunteers up and down the state. And for those of you in the press that have seen things before, I don't think you've ever seen a volunteer movement like this. It's literally people from all walks of life, all parties, all religions, diversity across the board, collecting united against one thing, and that's the fact that California needs a new governor, and needs a new governor quickly, and we cannot wait for the next election cycle. And anybody here, you can debate about that, but I think when we look all around California, and when you take a look at the Secretary of State statistics, you will see that every county in California, almost without exception, has participated in this process. This is not one group doing it, it's all 58 counties participating in a process to exercise our constitutional right to recall the governor of California.
We're thrilled. We have close to, I believe, more than, how many volunteers do we have now active, you guys?
There's anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 people out gathering signatures.
And that's every single day.
And that's boots on the ground every single day.
That's remarkable.
We're tracking an average of about 92,000 signatures a week at this point.
And I think what's also important to note, to Owen's point, it's not only how many we're tracking per week, but even at this late stage, with the number of signatures that we've announced, the momentum is building. Californians are consistently becoming more disgruntled with how their states run. They're constantly, every week our signature total is going up, and the reason for that is Orrin and I, and then the whole coalition of the people, we've given them a chance to participate, take action on recalling the governor, and taking action in getting people to sign the initiative.
And where can they do that? At Recall Gavin?
In case you haven't noticed, at recallgavin2020.com.
Download the petition, sign it, and get it into us pronto. Rapito,
Immediately. We've made this as easy as possible. People can go to recallgavin2020.com, download the petition at home, and print it up.
It's on standard size paper. The address to mail it in is listed right there on the bottom of the form. Get it into us as soon as possible. We have until March 10th to get all of those in and then process them. And then we have to return those back to their respective counties. Every one of the 58 counties needs to get those petitions in hand and delivered by 5 o'clock on March 17th. One thing we want to let everybody know here, and especially to the politicians across the street and the lobbyists who have destroyed California's dream for so many decades and generations now, that your game's over. We're done as politics as we know it. From now on, the people are in charge of California. The governmental monopoly and the one-party rule over California is over, and we're in politics as usual, and business as you once knew it in California is over and done.
Yeah, I want to say again what we just stressed here. We are just average citizens. We have not been in politics, Orrin and I, before. We're not professionals who've done this for 20, 30 years. It shows again how you can mold modern marketing techniques with the power of the people to get something done. When we started this, and it's interesting today looking out and seeing all the folks here, but when we started this, no one really gave us a shot because you said, you're not backed by big money. This is not possible.
You've never done this before.
It can't be done without the political infrastructure on both sides. The lesson to be learned here for everybody watching this is people make a difference in having a say in your government. People make a difference every day in being able to make a change. And that's what this is all about. It's not just about recalling Gavin Newsom. It's about making a change in the way that California is run now and needs to be run in the future. Orrin just said it. You can't have a supermajority of any party run anything for too long, too big. It doesn't work out well for the people. And look out in the windows of your streets and see what's happening. The average person in California, which we are, just average people, need to have a say in how the state is run and need to be heard. And, in case you haven't noticed, Gavin Newsom is not listening, and it's time he paid the price for it in a recall election.
We want to let everybody know one thing too real quick is about the number of people who have signed our petition thus far and how they break down as far as the party is concerned. Absolutely. Maybe you can go ahead and fill them in on that. Well, we've done an internal study on a large number of signatures, I think about 20,000 signatures that were gathered, and we compared those in a random sample against the voter registration database. And it shows that 31.5% of the people that have signed this petition are other than Republican, and that is significant. So this is not a Republican movement. This is a California thing. And the electorate has risen up. They've taken advantage of what we have been able to do as a campaign based upon tens of thousands of interested volunteers. And we've given them the tools needed to be successful to do what they need to do to sign that petition, mail it in, go to their neighbors. You know, every place you go in California, you'll see a recall Gavin Newsom 2020 table, a sign-up table, a petition gathering group. These are all volunteers. Nobody's getting paid. And that's magical. That is a blessing from the political gods to know that people really do care about California.
We're also going to ask out there that everybody in the press really pay attention to a lot of the articles coming out about Gavin now. There's a lot of material out there. One of the things that drives me and Orrin and Randy every day is the fact our governor in California is not paying attention to the way he's awarding contracts, taking undue influence from lobbyists, and the way that he's affecting even the distribution of the COVID vaccine. When you take a look out there at how do you realize that the governor of California has just asked to extend his emergency purchasing powers for another year?
I think he's paying attention to how he's awarding contracts. I think that he's actually profiteering off of this pandemic by using the executive powers to override the safety mechanisms of the bidding system in place, the governmental bidding system, and he's using the executive powers that's been bestowed on him, as his lawyers have argued in court and lost. But he's using that to override the bidding process and grant these no-bid contracts. And you can speak more to that.
So we're asking the people of California and the press out there to really pay attention to this. The last year, Gavin Newsom has awarded over 100 no-bid contracts. The 12 largest contracts have gone to his biggest donors, including the distribution of the COVID vaccine, even when specific counties asked to be opt-out. Gavin Newsom is not listening to his own party, he's not listening to the counties, but he seems to be listening to specific lobbyists, like what's happening, what came out in the papers today again, on the water desalination plant down in Huntington Beach. We Californians at the people level are paying attention. We ask that the other politicians with us pay attention to, because this recall should be a wake-up call for all politicians, that the people of California will take action themselves to recall a politician if they're not doing their job. And we started with the governor of California, and for those of you not paying attention at home, it's only the third time in history, or the fourth time in history, a recall will actually get on the ballot, and probably the third time it will actually happen.
Third time's a charm.
Third time's a charm. And although it happened once before in California, it's gonna happen again. Be aware out there, California politicians, we're watching. And be aware of lobbyists and consultants, we're watching. The people of, this is just a sign that the people of California will and can take their state back.
So with that, why don't we open it up to some questions? Yes, in the back.
Hi, are you guys going to endorse a candidate for governor, assuming this thing
Can you
qualifies?
identify yourself real quick?
Sorry, Laura Cordy, Sacramento Bee.
Laura, thank you very much. The question is, are we going to endorse anybody in regards to this election that is now forthcoming in regards to this?
As a primarily formed committee, we're not eligible to endorse or unendorse any particular candidates at this time. At some point, our campaign will switch over to a general purpose campaign, and when the right candidate emerges, we'll choose to endorse that person.
And Oren, do we think that the right candidate has emerged thus far?
No comment.
No comment. Next question.
You were talking earlier about, it's not a Republican thing.
It's not a Republican thing.
It's a bipartisan thing crossing both.
It's a California thing. It's a California thing.
Absolutely. And yesterday, we were in San Francisco, and one of our guest speakers on stage was a young lady, a self-professed transgender Democrat socialist, Antifa member. Okay, that's a mouthful, but it's true. People from all walks of life, the entire political spectrum, have come together. This is a unifying moment in our history. People are bridging, this is a bridging movement. People are coming across the aisle and from the entire political spectrum to work on this movement because they feel so strongly about the direction California's been going for the last several decades. And they know that California is in desperate need of a course correction, and we're the steering team.
I would also ask that when you're out there, if you stop and take a look at the literally probably close to 1,000 booths that are there every weekend. This recall, politics, as I say, our experience with it or our experience through the press has been what I call a grumpy sport, right? Where everybody's like mad at each other.
You're not grumpy, though.
No, I'm not grumpy. And the reason I'm not grumpy is go out there and take a look. People are smiling because what the recall has allowed people to do is go out in these recall booths, in these recall events, and talk to each other. Friendly from all sides, okay? This partisan divide is kind of getting over in California. We're all Californians. And when you go out there, and when you go to our rally today that you're gonna see starting at 3 o'clock, you see smiles. This is not people that are angry. This is people that are happy that they have the power, which maybe New York doesn't, to take back their vote and get something right.
Another thing I want to mention too is the California Patriot Coalition, this recall committee that these gentlemen helped found a year ago. What was it, February 20th?
Yes, sir. And I want to say we helped found it. It is not a one-man movement or Mike and Oren show. There's a large number of people, support members behind the scenes that are involved in this thing. This is an immense operation that we've undertaken. This is the largest ever attempted petition drive in our nation's history, folks. And it's been done by volunteers only. Our group only has 2 paid employees. One of them is a compliance officer who's also our treasurer, and the other one is this kind of gentleman right here, Randy Conlon.
It's been the greatest political job of my life, to be honest. I'm willfully underpaid. No, he is. Yes, in the back.
Sorry, Sophia Bolak from the Sacramento Bee. I'm wondering, in recent weeks, as you guys have collected more signatures, what has been the main issue, or what are the main issues that people are citing that are prompting them to sign? What are they most angry about that Newsom is doing?
I'll let Mike start off with that.
I think a couple of the main things. One is that the California government's becoming more obvious that they're not being very transparent with the people. Openings happen with no logic. For example, distribution of the vaccines seem to be debauched like a lot of things. The EDD crisis continues to grow. And frankly, again, it's more of these, I'm not going to call them scandals yet, but unveilings of what Gavin's been doing behind the scenes. It just seems to be accelerating. I think the LA Times put it best today, where it's really hard to follow all the reason things that are going bad for Gavin right now. I think that's really accelerating the signature cycle. This has just brought a cognizant awareness to the public of what Gavin is doing, which would not be in a normal cycle outside of an election.
And you already have a tax base of citizens who are frustrated and angry because they have the highest taxes in the nation. Okay, there's the highest homeless problem, there's the highest taxes. But then when you have the highest taxes in the nation and you find out that your government has squandered $10 to $31 billion in an unemployment scandal, and I am going to go on record and say it's scandalous, crimes have been committed, and people need to be prosecuted. So you have that frustration, and then you have Gavin Newsom taking taxpayer money from our own citizens here at home and applying it to other purposes that it was not intended for, and the scandal is there. You have the no bid contracts that are being awarded to profiteer off of the pandemic, to his friends and his donors. And, that sense of frustration is just building in society right now. And I'll tell you what, the people that I talk to out on the street are the Republicans and the folks that knew what they were getting when Gavin Newsom took office aren't the ones who are so upset. It's the Democrats. It's the people that voted for him who feel a sense of abandonment. They feel a sense of betrayal with this governor because they didn't subscribe to his agenda, and they feel like and that we have somebody here today that can speak more to this, but they're the ones that are the most frustrated and the most disappointed with the way the state's been going of late.
Let me add an answer to your question here too, but that's actually a really good one. We were in San Francisco yesterday, right, which is supposedly opening up. A lot of places can open, but you know what's scary? They're not. Okay, they can't afford to reopen. We're gonna hear Angela Marston later today talk about the Pineapple Grill. Imagine being a business owner or living in one of these cities, and I live in the Los Angeles area, and seeing homeless people camped on the sidewalk, your business boarded up. And you really expect the governor, which led us into this mess, to lead us out of this mess? People are scared. To Oren's point, we can't apparently control where the unemployment money is even going in the state of California. And the governor of California cannot lead us out of the mess that he's got us into. And people are scared. And that really sums it up. That's accelerating signatures.
Next question.
You were talking earlier about how it was like a fair warning for the other folks across the street.
Sure.
Could we see recalls of legislators?
I think the power of the recall is a wonderful tool. Places in most parts of the country don't have that opportunity like we do here in California. So this is politics as we know it here in California are over. Those days are long gone. We are not going to live in a one-party state anymore on either side of the aisle. Politics as we know it in California are over. Katie.
Are you guys anticipating any troubles with Governor Newsom's newly appointed Secretary of State or even the county voter registrar's offices?
Which one?
Oh, I think we'll all jump in on this one.
Okay.
The process of being able to handle this recall has been monumental. We have had landmines after landmines after landmines thrown in front of us. like going through an Army obstacle course. When Gavin Newsom appointed the Secretary of State and moved into Washington and put in Shirley Weber as the new head election official in California, that was not done for any other reason than politics. Shirley Weber is now not controlled by the people. She's accountable to Gavin Newsom. And her office is going to play a big role in the certification of this election. All of our work that we've been doing here and the tens and hundreds of thousands of people who are out working for us and working on behalf of this campaign, because it's their campaign. And so, we've got to keep an eye on them. We really got to keep an eye on her. We got to keep an eye on the Lieutenant Governor, Elena Koulounakis, who will be the actual one who is going to certify if this thing gets on a ballot. So we're watching them, and we're watching them with hundreds of thousands of eyes. So we don't want to put anything past anybody, but we don't want to get into conspiratorial theories as well. We just want to hold people accountable.
We believe that almost all employees of the government are out to do their job and do it properly. But everybody out there, it's not a candidate, it's not a party. It's the people of California holding you accountable for your job, and that's what this is about. The people will hold everybody accountable, including those empowered with doing their job, which we expect them to do.
When could, you brought the, being put on a ballot, when could this be put on a ballot? What's the soonest?
We anticipate that once this is certified, and we hope that they certify the recall quickly, there is a procedural period where they go through processing the recall and so forth, and we anticipate that it could be put on the ballot late summer to early fall.
A special election will have to be called.
It will not be held in 2022. It will be held this year. We will make sure of that.
Would it be similar to how Davis's was done, because it was like, either you vote for him, yes?
They've already sent a precedence with the Gray Davis recall, and we would ask the Secretary of State to word the ballot very similar to the one that they've already used. It was effective, and there would be no reason to retool that. And they already have a working model to go off of, so might as well just go on that model and go forward.
Did they use the same one that Newsom recalled?
It would basically be two questions that will appear in the ballot. Shall Gavin Newsom be recalled? Gray Davis, see, according to what, shall Gavin Newsom be recalled? And the second question shall be, who shall replace him? And so whoever gets the most votes on the second question, if the first question passes with a yes plurality at 50% plus one vote, whoever gets the most votes on that second question will automatically be named the governor of California. He or she will,
in a very short period of time.
in a short period of time, and he or she will assume the position until January 2023.
This is a process defined by the California Constitution. And for everybody out there watching, I say all the time, have you read the Constitution? I go, yeah, I don't mean the U.S. Constitution, I mean your state's Constitution. And that's the part that we need to hold California government accountable to, including the recall process itself, which is defined by our state constitution.
Also, when I talk about our, this is the people's campaign. This campaign belongs to our organization. We are responsible. We are the responsible party for making this thing go through and to finish it down on that election night. So we're looking forward to a spirited campaign. We're looking for an all-inclusive campaign, and we're looking for a very transparent campaign. And one thing we would love to do is we would like to actually, maybe we have a couple radio shows in Los Angeles on KBC. We would love to be able to have Gavin Newsom come on our show one night at the KBC and actually debate us. Talk to us directly in regards to why he is facing this situation, and he needs to be answerable to the first people sooner or later. And so we're going to give him that opportunity. We're extending that invitation to him as well.
And by the way, we're doing these radio shows, not as paid radio hosts. We're doing as an extension to keep the discussion going in California for the people. So people have a forum, again, to express themselves, not dependent necessarily on social media, which has been a big portion of our strategy. We want to keep the conversation, this is why Warren and I started this, to keep everybody in California involved in the conversation about who the governor should be and the direction of the state.
Next. Okay.
Just for some background, when Gray Davis was recalled, there was about 135 people.
Yeah.
Put their name on that list. And there's, one of the popular questions is well, can Gavin Newsom put his name on that list? Other than those two questions, Gavin Newsom's name will not appear on the next ballot by law.
So one thing we want to do now is, as you know, we're getting close to the final day of signing the petition and our recall. And we have going to do a quick little signing ceremony between Oren, myself, and Mike to make sure that our names are officially added to the list. So gather around.
One of the things which deserves being pointed out. Sorry, guys, we're not really doing this. Okay?
I don't want to mess up our answer. This is our petition to recall. And like 1,950,000 registered voters have already signed this. And we're going to put our names to it right now.
Before we do, I'd like to make one point for those, because a lot of people have signed the petition, not many read it. Number, I believe, 4 here in Gavin Newsom's response. Our economy and employment are historically strong. Maybe not. So maybe Gavin is really, maybe his employment is historically strong. We're hoping to change that. And maybe his economy is historically strong, but not the peoples of California.
Sign away, by friend. One, two, three, anywhere, California. Good job. The most important signature are the people's signatures in this category. And Bailey. Bailey's the official campaign director.
And I'd like to note again, what we have up here is the 8.5 by 11 version of the petition. And this is different because, again, our original strategy was not to get paid petitioner people, right? So putting 8.5 by 11 means they could go to recallgavin2020.com and print it out themselves. Orrin and I decided to empower the people of California to not have to go somewhere, do something, but they could start gathering signatures on their own. That's an important lesson for everybody here with these cameras. Understand? The whole idea is empower people with democracy. What a novel idea.
So with that, we're going to have a little rally this afternoon. Anybody else have any questions? Oren, myself, and Mike will be available to do some one-on-one interviews with you guys afterwards. What's that? Oh yeah, put the total up here. Mike, put the total up there where we're at. Come on, man.
Now let's see, this is more since I'm a
That's a
volunteer
fancy,
board
that's a
member.
big pen you got there.
I do.
What number are we putting up, Mike? 900,000. Get the guy who doesn't know how to write correctly and give him the Sharpie.
Like, just as if you make a mistake on a petition, you just cross it out and write it in there. 1,950,000 today.
And we will be hand delivering this to Gavin Newsom's house.
And all the candidates out there, for everybody out there, I want them to really think of this. You guys have covered a lot of campaigns. The average congressional candidate gets 150,000 votes. All right, the different districts, Nancy Pelosi got 275,000 votes. Yet, 1,950,000 people so far have signed to remove Gavin Newsom from office. God bless you and thank you for coming today. We hope to see you.
We'll be available for any questions.
Are there any more questions?
Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll see you this afternoon at the rally across the street beginning at 3 o'clock. Bailey, you want to recall Gavin? What?
Bailey's the two ladies. Thanks, everybody, for coming today. We really appreciate
Recall
it.
Gavin? Do you want to recall Gavin?
No!
Well, by the way, we have some sandwiches and food back there if you guys are hungry. And you write nice stories.
And we have t-shirts too, if you guys want to take some t-shirts with you. Help yourself. Swag, we love swag. They're large and extra large.
Good job, brother. All right, everybody. There you hear it. 1,950,000 signatures.
Not on camera.